وَلْتَكُنْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَأُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ.
إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة إلى آخره. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم الإيمان بضع وسبعون أو قال 60 شعبة فأفضلها قول لا إله إلا الله وأدناها إماطة الأذى عن الطريق والحياء شعبة من الإيمان أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. मेरे मोहतरम दोस्त और बुजुर्गों, अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला हमारे यहाँ जमा होने को कबूल फरमाए।
Just missed what he just said there, so apologies for that. Luqman alayhi salam, he advised his children. So Luqman the wise, he addressed his children, "Oh my dear sons, the gatherings of the scholars and listen to their advices with eagerness. What is the benefit of this? The benefit of this that when you sit in the gatherings and listen carefully, then the nur, the luminous light which will come or emanate from their sayings will bring life to the dead hearts, just as when water falls, it brings life to the dead land. So just the way dead land, it becomes fertile with rain, then similarly, the dead hearts that we have will become alive listening to the sayings of scholars. However, there is a condition. What is the condition? That we got to listen with attention. That's why he's saying we don't just say listening is listening, but what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in the Qur'an? Don't be like those people that just say I've heard or we've heard. So even within listening, there is categories of people that listen. One is that just the noise or the words reach us. So we thank Allah for at least getting us here. So the words are just falling on ears basically. But listening with the intention of a'mal, with the intention of action, this is what is desired. So what is Allah saying? That don't be like those people who say, okay, we've heard. Just like the disbelievers, they have also heard the words, nor do they pay attention to it, nor do they have the intention of practicing it. So Allah is saying, don't become like them. Another level is that a person listens to words and he also understands, he listens and understands, but he hasn't got the intention to practice it. So this is almost like the munafiq, the hypocrites. They heard, they even maybe understood, but it made no difference to them because they didn't have the intention for practicing. And so what was the category before this? That just the ears came to the words. We can't call this listening. He's saying, for example, when we go to the markets, then we hear so many things. People are playing talks. Let's just say there's a talk being played, but you're in a market, the sound's coming to your ears, but you're not listening to it, are you? Anyway, the third category is saying that one person listens to words, he understands it, that he even understands that what is being said is true, but he hasn't got the intention for practicing yet. He's saying unfortunately so many Muslims come in this category, we hear it, we understand it, and we even say this is true. However, where's the intention to practice? So again, there's not the benefit there. So who will get the maximum benefit, or the benefit that is desired? The one who listens with attentiveness, with desire, with understanding. So he listens, he understands what is being said, and he will say that this is the words of Allah, the words of Rasulullah, so this is true. However, the last part is also that we also have the intention to practice. So that person will benefit the most, inshallah. What is Allah saying about these people in the Qur'an? That those people who listen with the ears of their heart, they listen with attentiveness, and they also practice upon what has been said and that is good. So those are those people who Allah will guide. So my dear brothers, which category do we want to come under? So if we want guidance, we need to, or want hidayah, we need to listen with that attentiveness. Yeah? Allah is saying in the Qur'an, he's reading a verse of Qur'an, he's saying that the worst of those animals that nor can they see, nor can they hear, nor they even understand. Yeah? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet mentioned this, is that those people are being compared to animals. Yeah? And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, or if Allah has seen any good inside us, meaning the intention, if we have good intention for sitting, then because of this talab, because of this wanting, then Allah gives us the ability to listen properly and further to act upon it as well. But if we don't sit with any desire, with any wanting to practice, and we just came to listen, what happens at the end? Then we just listen and run at the end, like what happens, right? As soon as the talk's finished, we just up and off. So he's saying, the saying of a prophet, that what is guidance like a necklace that we just put around your neck and we put over your heads, but you don't even want it. How is it going to come to you? Reading a verse of Qur'an. O people of Iman, O people of faith, that obey the words of Allah and the Rasul of Allah, and go towards those things which they are calling you towards, meaning those things which will make your life, those things that will benefit you in dunya, and it will make your life of this world as the life of the hereafter. So you say, my dear brothers, the purpose is to listen carefully, and you say, okay, to a certain extent we pick up reward, but we can go to any masjid for reward, we can go to plenty of masajid, but our coming here, we want to come to get the maximum benefit. So he's saying that, I'm just mentioning this because just before we came out from the room, he's saying that this is what we was talking about, that how people come and benefit. We've just come, a lot of us come, listen, we want reward and we go. But more than this, we need to gain maximum benefit. So he's saying that if we came in a car with 4 people, and all 4 people, they came with the right intention to benefit, to act upon it, then, and 4 people got hidayah, then you driving the car have become means of 4 people receiving guidance. So he's saying the majma', the people around, is the main thing. I mean, he's saying that if I sit here and talking, there's nobody here, it will almost become pointless. But he's saying that the people that are here, if you have the right intention, this has an effect on me, my talking. So if people sit with the right intention to gain maximum benefit, then Allah put the right words within me to give you the maximum benefit. Reciting the verse of Qur'an. So he's saying that there's many people regarding the people of the book that who used to sin, they used to do good deeds, and they used to think, okay, just let life continue this way. What is there's no real reason or real need to really struggle in life. Let's just let it pass life like this. What is Allah saying about these people? That they keep saying, they keep procrastinating, that we'll make tawbah a bit later, a bit later, a bit later. However, their hearts become so hard that a chance does not come to make tawbah. Their hearts become so hard that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts a seal over their heart. They don't get a chance to make tawbah. When a person does not make tawbah and he continues to do his actions the way he does, thinking, sinning, good, I'll do good and bad both, let's just continue. In the end, my iman will save me. He's saying that these people, to that extent, Allah will seal their hearts. We shouldn't live like this. So he said, look, we're here now. Some people think, okay, we're here and we're going to pick up reward. Another type of people come and say, you know what, my business is going well, so let's go to Markaz. Hopefully my business will prosper. So what happens? We go in the path of Allah, we meet people, we talk about business. And he's saying that some people, they've got problems at home, we say, let's go to the Markaz, things will get better. But we have to rectify our intention. Why did we come? We didn't come for these other purposes. He said something else now about what's happening in Raiwan, Pakistan. So he's saying one very simple man from Iraq. A very simple man. So one Mewati man was tashkiling another, and he tashkiling for 4 months. So the person who was tashkiling by over 4 months, what did he say? He said to him, look, the work of Tabligh is very, very high. It's the work of the Nabi, it's the work of the Anbiya, and Allah becomes very pleased. So what did he say? And he said, but however, in the end of this, you are going to struggle. Yeah, you will struggle. People may swear at you, people may beat you. So while he was taking him to Raiwan and talking like this, that when they was on the way, he understood, okay, when you go in Jamaat, when you go in the path of Allah, you will get sworn at, you will get beaten. So when he got to Markaz, he saw so many hundreds of people, thousands of people. He's a new guy. And what did he say? It's quite cold. And he wanted to go to the toilet. So he didn't know where the toilets were. It's a huge place. So he's looking around, where's the toilets? What do you see? Everyone's knocked out, it's in the night time. So he starts getting up, looking around, and then he sees someone in security. And the security guys, they look at him and thought, what's this guy doing? Let's go and find out what he wants. So the security guys, they saw him and they said, you know what? They thought, this guy looks a bit dodgy, what's he doing looking around? Is he a thief? So they went and grabbed him, the security guy said, hey, where are you going? Where did you come from? So this person, he said, look, I'm looking for the toilets. And so he's saying in then that people, you look at people, you don't realize who they are, where they are. And he's saying that, he himself saying that I saw many people with big turban, big bed, and you give salam, you talk to him, and he doesn't even get one word of urdu out of him. So he's saying that you don't understand people. Anyways, going back to the story, the security guards, they were saying, where are you going? He said, I need to go to the toilet. They said, no, you're lying, you've come to steal. So they started pushing him around. They started barging him. Subhanallah. They started barging him. And they started hitting him. In the end, this new guy, he said, you know what? You can beat me as much as you want, you can hit me as much as you want, but I'm not going to leave this work. Why? Because I've understood, you're going to get beaten in this work, and you get pushed around in the work. So what's he trying to say? He's saying the person who brought him to Markaz, he made him understand. It's a high work, you will get pushed around. So similarly, he's saying that if we've come with the right intention, I've come to learn, I've come to benefit, I want action in my life, then we'll have the benefit, inshallah. Anyhow, talking about Sahaba radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he used to say, O Prophet of Allah, that it's my desire that I want to come and sit in your gathering, and I want to see you as much as I can, and I want to spend my wealth and my life for you. Somebody in Arabic said to him, Sahaba, another Sahaba said to him, okay, now he's saying there's another Sahabi, Umar radiallahu anhu, that when Islam comes into a person, then the qualities of faith come into a person, and the Sharia becomes natural in a person, and his actions become such that Allah and Rasulullah will become happy. So Umar radiallahu anhu, saying about him, he used to say, "Oh Rasulullah, I like a few things." What is it? Saying that I like a few things of Rasulullah, that I like haqq, and I like what the speech of haqq, what is true, and also I like calling people towards good deeds and preventing them from evil. This is what I really like, this is my desire. So he said, look at these qualities are such that will take a person to Jannah, to paradise. So Uthman radiallahu anhu, so he also says, "Oh Rasulullah, I like a few things as well." What is it? "Oh Rasulullah," he's saying that, "Oh Rasulullah, I like three things, that I like spreading salam, and I like feeding people food, and I like performing salah at night when everybody is sleeping. While everyone is sleeping, I like to stand in front of Allah. And this is what I like, and this is my habit." So when Rasulullah went on Hijrah and he got to Medina, okay, he said, Abdullah ibn Salam radiallahu anhu, that before I became a Muslim, the very first thing I heard from the Prophet of Allah was, "Oh people, what did he say? He said, I heard three things from the Prophet ﷺ, that spread the salam, feed the food to the people, and at night stand in salah, and with a lot of ease you will enter paradise." Yeah, spread the salam, feed the food to the people, and stand in salah in the night, and get to paradise easily. Another Sahabi, Ali radiallahu anhu, what is he saying? So, "Oh Rasulullah, I also like three things." He's saying that on a very, very hot day I would like to fast. That I feel the sweetness of Iman in these times. That it's really, really hot. And it's intense, but I like to fast. And I like to entertain the guests. And further, I would like to hold a sword in my hand and be in the path of Allah, and to elevate the name of Allah. Then I will go in the way of Allah and fight. Another Sahabi, Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, he also mentioned what he used to like. "Oh Rasulullah, I like three things as well." What is it? I like hunger. This is Abu Dharr saying, I really like hunger. I really like illness. And the third is, I like death. So what was said in reply to this? Abu Dharr, everybody runs from these things. Why do you like it? He's saying, anyone that's sleeping around you, please wake them up. Anyone that's asleep here as well, must share everyone's awake. So what's being said? That when I'm really hungry and thirsty, my heart becomes soft. So this gives me a lot of taste of Iman. He's saying, really, those Muslims that have their stomachs full, then their dua finishes once you push them. They're saying, we should try and eat this. He said, we should finish our meal when we still have a small amount of hunger inside. Anyway, this is why I like hunger, because my heart becomes soft. And when I'm sick, I like sickness because that when I'm ill, that my sins are being forgiven, being purified of sins. That's why I like sickness. And I like death. I like death because that when I die, then I get to meet my Allah. Then I get to meet my Creator. This is why I like death. He's saying, those people who desire to meet Allah and welcome death, those people who like to meet Allah and desire death, and they are pleased with Allah, and Allah is pleased with them, then they should continue to do their good deeds until death reaches them. And they do not ascribe partners to Allah, not for the sake of show, for Allah. Now, he's saying, what was I saying? So, what is Rasulullah saying? If these are the things you like, then let me say something to you. I haven't come to give or take anything of the world from you. I haven't come for the exchanging of wealth. My example is that of a person in this world is like a person who's on a journey. That he's traveling and he's halts, he stands still. So he just wants to seek a bit of refuge under the shade of a tree. So he's saying that I don't like anything of the world. I don't like anything of the world. However, if the things that has been put in my heart to like are free, I like nice smelling perfume. Someone who's smart likes perfume that smells nice. And also, I like my wives. He's saying today, what do we know about our wives? We just don't have to fight with them. We don't have to argue. We're good at it. And he says, when we talk to our wives, what do we say? We say, I don't know what my mom saw in you when she went to see you. I don't know what sort of glasses she wore. Anyway, he's saying, so what do I like? I like my wives. And the Prophet of Allah used to love his wives. Anyway, and when we leave our houses to go to the masjid, our wives are making dua, oh Allah, let him stay in the masjid. Don't let him return. But the wives of Rasulullah, they used to pray, when is he going to return? They used to love him so much. Anyhow, he had such great character. And the third thing, what he say was that the coolness of my eyes lies in salah, in prayer. Long prayers. Long salah he used to perform. That the feet of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to become swollen. SubhanAllah. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, he says that once I availed of the opportunity to join him in this optional prayer, and he said, oh my God, he said, such a long prayer, that he said that I started getting ill thoughts. That, you know what, somebody said, what do you mean by ill thoughts? He thought, I want to just get out, I want to run away, it's so long. So I joined him in a prayer once. That he started with Surah Nisa, then Ali Imran. He's saying that maybe 5.5 or 6 juz of Qur'an was recited by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the bowing and the prostration were as long as that standing. Imagine how long it would take to recite 5 or 6 juz of Qur'an. But the bowing and the prostration was as long as that. Anyway, he's saying, what he's saying, the Prophet will say, the coolness of my eyes lies in salah. Anyway, in another narration he's saying that within that conversation, Jibreel alayhi salam came, and what did he say? He said, I like 3 things. So he came to that conversation that they all had, that I also like 3 things. Was it 3 things? That I like that person whose tongue remains constantly engaged in the dhikr of Allah and in gratitude to Allah and praising Allah. And that person whose body is forbearing, that when he undergoes hardship or he's ready for hardship, so he's got a forbearing body. Who's going to forbear? Who's going to undergo hardship? The one who has love for Allah, love for Rasulullah. He's ready. And he will always be ready to struggle in those actions which please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the salah of the Prophet was seen, then it was asked of him, why do you pray such a long salah? What was his reply? That, look, I've been made the leader of all the Prophets. Should I not be a grateful slave of Allah? So he's saying, when we make effort on our hearts and our iman, then these qualities will start to become appealing to us. The qualities of the believers will become appealing. We want them. So it's in verse of Qur'an, the people of Iman, who are they? People of faith, who are they? That when Allah is remembered in front of them, the remembrance of Allah is mentioned in front of them, then their hearts become strengthened and their hearts become more attached to Allah. Maybe they were even going to sin, but they heard something about Allah and they refrained. The person of Iman, the person of faith, he wouldn't step forward for sin. Why? Because he has the greatness of Allah in front of him. So the hearts tremble when they hear the verses of Allah. He's saying another verse of Qur'an, Allah is also warning us. Oh, people of faith, people of Iman, those who do good and bad deeds. What has not the time yet come? Has yet the time not come? That when the remembrance of Allah is made, you do not humble yourself. That when the Qur'an is recited in front of you, you don't humble yourself. Allah is warning us. You have time now. Turn to Allah, repent. If our heart is saying, you know what, I need to repent, then what are we waiting for? Don't even wait for 2 rakat of salah. Don't even wait to go and pray that I'll do it later after 2 rakat of salah. No, right now we can say from the hearts. Talk to Allah. Make those amendments. We can do it here. It's saying sometimes the decision of Allah, that when we delay an action, the decision of Allah, our actions which we delay becomes an obstacle from the favourable decisions of Allah. So he's saying sometimes people make intention, I want to go Hajj or Umrah, I want to fast in Ramadan, but he delays it and death reaches him prior to this. So he's missed out. So he's saying that if we all have a feeling in the heart, then we shouldn't hang about for it. Don't wait till the evening or the night. Straight away we can do this. He's saying, every single week we hear the announcement. That, my dear brothers, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept our success in 100% Islam, 100% deen. We've got to think about this sentence properly. It's not about saying, okay, we'll do a bit and I'll get some benefit, and if I leave a bit, okay. No, we need 100%. A Muslim should be content. He should feel contentment. He's saying that man who runs for Jum'ah Salah and he leaves his car in a double yellow. So when he comes to the masjid, is his heart going to be at rest? When he stands for Salah, will his heart be at rest, or is he going to be thinking about my car? He's saying similarly, a Muslim, he will never feel content so long as there's sin in his heart. If you put your fingers in snow, dig your fingers into snow, what are you going to feel? It's going to be cold, right? If you put your fingers in fire, what are you going to feel? The heat. So it's saying similarly, how can we be sinful and expect to have contentment? He's saying, Allah is saying in the Qur'an, Allah is saying this, that within the remembrance of Allah is the contentment of the hearts. But why are we remembering Allah there's no contentment? Because we do good as well as evil. We've got to refrain from those sins. We've got to purify ourselves from sins. Then the contentment will come. So as soon as the sin starts from us, then the heart straight away gets uneasy. The uneasiness starts. In the Qur'an, what is being mentioned? The example of Fir'aun, that when he continued to sin after sin, Allah sent Musa alayhi salam and Harun. So Allah sent the means of Nabi, the Prophet, to him. So he straightens his way, so he repents, saying the people of the effort of me. So he's saying that even in our difficulties, we become the means of people come towards good. He's saying that when we get into trouble, we're in difficulties, then we think, let's go for Jola. My problems get sorted. He's saying even in our difficulties, if we recognize these difficulties, the difficulties from Allah, then this difficulty is actually a form of mercy, that we end up doing the right thing. Subhanallah. So he's saying that a person who's blind, if a person's blind and another family member becomes blind, how would they get on? How would they get on with life? So he's saying similarly, if we got sin after sin, how do we continue? Even if a person is a millionaire, even then if he sins, he will still be uneasy. He will still be in anxiety and pressure. He's not a millionaire. He's not worried about food. He's not worried about his stomach. Is he going to worry about his stomach? No way. But look at Fir'aun. Look at the uneasiness inside him. What's he saying? Kill all the children. Kill all the children that get born. The uneasiness is still eating him away. So as it continued, Allah increased the anxiety. Yeah. So anyhow, Allah also sent a thunder. Allah sent adverse weather conditions. So these conditions came to remind him. He's saying the people of Bani Israel, the believers, that inside their house there was no water. But for the disbelievers, water entered their houses, they were drowning in there. So people were sent to Musa and said, look, if you pray to Allah and you have this calamity removed, then we'll all believe in you. All the people will all believe in you. So he supplicated to Allah. And in 1 week, all the water had gone. And after that, after he supplicated, all the water went. What did they see? What did they find? They found out that the crops had grown. Wow, check it out. They said, you know what? This water and rain, this wasn't our love, this was a punishment, this was a mercy for us. So they started benefiting from the vegetation. Anyhow, then Allah. So then they started accusing Musa alayhi salam that you got our water taken away. Look at the difficulty you brought for us now. So they asked him to remove it, it got taken away, and now they're blaming him for it. Anyhow, then there was some maggots. The next thing happened was there was some maggots which came and eating everything away. So they came to Musa, oh Musa, help us again, pray. Then he prayed, and Allah removed this difficulty. So again, difficulty comes their way, they ask him for dua, Allah removes the difficulty and they start blaming him. So this happened a few times. He's mentioning a few scenarios. Sorry, I just missed the scenario he was talking about. But again, he's saying they asked him, they came to Musa alayhi salam and said, oh Musa, please, supplicate to Allah. But he's saying, look, the purpose of these punishments that kept coming one after the other continuously was so they would turn towards Allah. Anyway, next. What was the next punishment that came? It was frogs. That wherever they turned, wherever they went, frogs just jumped out. Frogs just came out. They lied down, frogs came out in front of them. They sat down to eat, the frogs started jumping out. They tried to pick something up to eat, jumped on their hands. So frogs were everywhere. It was all over the shop. Yeah. So they couldn't get away from it. However, the people of Bani Israel, the believers, they were fine. But the people that were with Fir'aun, it was affecting them. Then again they're asking, oh Musa, please help us out. Another punishment was what? The adhab of blood. That anything they wanted to eat and consume, it turned into blood. They're saying, who's going to drink blood? Who's going to consume blood? Again, but that same food which the Bani Israel, the people of Musa alayhi salam, were eating and drinking, it was fine. But the people with Fir'aun, as soon as they pick something up, it turns into blood. So again, they're in anxiety. So what did they say to people of Musa? Look, that put the food into your mouth and chew it, and then take it out, you must give it to us. So they're chewing the food. So as soon as they took the food out of the mouth and put it into their mouth, it turned into blood again. Adab from Allah. So what is Allah saying? I have given them sign after sign after sign, plenty of signs. However, they ignored the signs and they angered Allah. They angered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we say, Mother, this is the system of Allah. If we don't make effort on our iman, if we continue sin, and we continue to lie even to ourselves, eat haram, eat forbidden, then this also has a stink to it, it's nasty. And this attracts the adab of Allah. Saying, saying that as soon as we start to do any bad or evil deed, then straight away, slowly the return of that will come. He's saying, I think Albaqarah radiallahu anhu, he said that when we heard this verse, then it really affected us. That verse which says, as soon as you do evil, then you'll get the return. So Rasulullah said that the return of your evil deeds would be in various ways. It could be in the form of hunger, it could be in the form of anxiety, it could be in the form of whatever. It takes different forms. So he's saying, however, before the punishment comes, or before the return comes, you have a little bit of time. And this time is for us to turn to Allah and say sorry. So we are continuing to use and consume the blessings of Allah and sin. What are we doing? What is the Qur'an saying? What is the Qur'an saying? That if somebody disobeys Allah, Allah will not stop their sustenance. Allah doesn't stop their sustenance. That even when they turn away from the signs of Allah, even then Allah opens the sustenance from the heavens and the earth. And when they continue to sin and they continue to violate the commands of Allah, He's saying to get the punishment of Allah, you gotta qualify for it, right? He's saying that Allah is not an oppressor, that He just punishes people. But Allah will wait and wait and wait. When the sin continues and continues and continues, then it reaches a stage where you qualify for the punishment of Allah. So we sin, nobody knows, maybe in seclusion. Then Allah makes a decision. And He's saying sometimes it takes a very long time. We don't realize, but it will come. Somebody came to Junaid Baghdadi and somebody looked at him and looked at him in a funny way. So they said, look, you shouldn't have done that. So this person said, okay, look, it's nothing, I just gave him a little bit of look. But the person said, look, you would definitely get the return of that bad look you gave him. After 20 years, he's saying, after 20 years, this person who gave him that evil eye look, he was a person who memorized the whole Qur'an. After 20 years, he forgot the Qur'an. They're saying the effect of sin, sometimes it comes after a very long time. Sometimes it comes after a time. He's saying sometimes there was a scholar in the time of Bani Israel and he was sinning. He was a scholar, so he knew that it was a sin, and he also knew that the punishment of Allah will come. So he continued to sin and he didn't make tawbah, but he was awaiting the punishment of Allah because he knew it's going to come. So once he supplicated, oh Allah, you give me so many blessings, you give me so many blessings, and you keep on giving me. So this was a feeling in his heart. And the feeling came in his heart. So what was he saying? He said, oh Allah, he said, oh Allah, you give me so many of your blessings and you haven't punished me yet. And the feeling came in his heart. What did he feel? The words came to his heart that time when you had that taste in your salah and your dua, that this has been taken away from you, had this punishment not become aware to you yet? That this is what's missing now, this is your punishment. They're saying the people that are close to Allah, they'll be punished in ways which the sweetness of Iman gets taken away. He's saying, that some people will continue to sin in such a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make such people, he's talking about people that are pious, that if they end up engaging in sin, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give them the opportunity to get closer to Allah. So many years they don't get a chance to perform tahajjud salah, which they used to pray, they were very punctual with. Anyhow, he's saying that our sin has an effect. How can we sin and not feel the effect of it? How can we sin and the effect not come? He's saying that eventually it will come. Eventually it will come. Sometimes he's saying that after many years, his wife wants to separate from him. His children turn away from him. A time will come where all the people will go away and he'll be left alone. This is also punishment of Allah. He's left on his own. So Allah will allow things to continue because He's giving us a chance. Not because Allah is merciful, I'm sinning and He's allowing it. Don't think that Allah is allowing us to sin and there's not going to be a fix. No, after a long time it may come. So people are thinking that I fast, I pray, then why do I still feel anguish? So he's saying that have we made tawbah and repented to Allah for the evil we did many years ago? He's saying that we've violated the rights of our brothers and sisters and we haven't asked for forgiveness yet. Saying tawbah not to grab the ears and say, I'm sorry. You violated someone's rights. Have you gone back and apologized to them? Have we given back their due? We taken money from someone, we giving it back yet? We have to become real believers. Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah was asked, someone asked him, that, are you a mu'min, are you a believer? He said, look, a believer is of two types. One, that he believes in Allah, he believes in Rasul, he believes in the books, he believes in the hereafter. If you're talking about this type of iman, alhamdulillah, on that type. But if you're talking about that iman that have the qualities that come with it, which is mentioned in the Qur'an, I haven't got proof that's me, if I'm there or not. So what are these qualities? He's going to read the rest of the Qur'an. He said that the person that has iman, that when the name of Allah, the remembrance of Allah is made, then his heart will tremble. So I don't know if I'm that type of believer yet. He's saying that I came into the world bare clothed, naked, and Allah has made me the owner of so many things. Have I shown gratitude for this? I continue to sin. So he's saying, and when a person listens to the verses of Allah, the sayings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then this person who has iman, his iman increases, and his trust in Allah increases. His trust increases. Oh Allah, my trust is in you. I believe in you. These are some qualities of a person with iman, that he has trust in Allah. That our hearts soften toward the trust of Allah. When a person has iman, he will begin to trust Allah more. These are one of the things which will really increase. That our tawakkul, our trust in Allah will gradually increase in Allah. The person who has trust in Allah, Allah becomes sufficient for him. This is in the Qur'an. What is tawakkul saying? Hadith mentions mentioning a hadith. A very good example is given. That if you have trust in Allah, if you have trust in Allah, like the birds trust in Allah, that they leave in the morning empty stomach or empty beak, and they return in the evening full, satisfied, then if we have trust in Allah, then Allah will feed us like He feeds the birds. What is our trust in Allah? We sit back, relax on a sofa, changing the channels. Is this trust in Allah? We relax, taking from the government, and we're flicking through the channels. No, go out and what? Look for your sustenance. So if you trust in Allah, the way the birds trust in Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide for you like the way He provides for the birds. Okay, use your means, whatever you have, use it. But trust should be on Allah. Great virtue has been mentioned about it. That there will be such people in my ummah, that will enter paradise without account, without punishment. It's a great thing, isn't it? That there's no account, no punishment, they will enter paradise. So many people from our ummah. Anyone who is questioned about his deed, he's finished. So he's saying it's a very lengthy hadith. I'm just pulling out a portion of it. That who are these people? Someone said it's going to be Sahaba. It's those people who don't ascribe partners to Allah. Those people who become the means of people going Muslims. Those people, who are they? Who? Will not be those people that don't turn towards anyone and say, help me out, or give me like a tawiz, give me some cure because I've got a sort of problem. They only trust in Allah. They only trust in Allah. They are amongst from some of those people who will enter paradise without accounting, without any punishment. So some people say, oh Rasulullah, make dua that I'm from amongst those. So what did Rasulullah say? What did Rasulullah say? That becoming a person of tawakkul, everyone's going to have their share. So a hadith is mentioned, the one who leaves their house and recites, very simple dua he's mentioning, Bismillah wa tawakkaltu ala Allah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So he leaves his house saying, I have left my house trusting in Allah. So he's saying that only with the tawfiq of Allah can I do good deeds, refrain from sin. So anyway, he recites this and leaves his house. So what is the hadith mentioning? In response to this supplication he's made, the angels say that, oh, you will be guided. Whatever your need is, you will fulfill this need. Then, and Allah will become sufficient for you. Next, and Allah will protect you and He is sufficient for you. Lastly, shaitan will be made to go far from you. Just for reciting, Bismillah tawakkaltu ala Allah, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, when you leave your house. Somebody came to a scholar, pious man. He said, I go for work and my job doesn't get done. It's not a big deal. Give me some dua, what can I read? So my needs get fulfilled. So the Shaykh said to him, read this dua, read this one. Because the hadith mentions that you will be guided, meaning that whatever you are going to do, you'll be guided to fulfill this action. So he came back after a few days, he said to the Shaykh that, I recited it and mashallah my job gets done now. And he said, yeah, of course, that's why I told you to do it, it works, of course it's going to work. There's no doubt in it. So he's saying that we actually should feel a lot of pain in our hearts because we don't read any du'as, do we? So many actions that we've been taught du'as for, we don't read. Any else? He's saying a person, he's saying that Allah in the Qur'an is saying that supplicate to me, I will answer your prayer. Supplicate to me. He's saying the whole year goes past, or how many months go past, and we supplicate to Allah. But he's saying, look, that when we supplicate to Allah, he's talking about that scenario about that person who asked. But yeah, of course it works. He said, how long have you been making dua, and your dua doesn't get accepted? He said, you're sick. If you put your finger in sugar and taste it, what are you going to taste? Sugar. Yeah, it's going to be sweet. So how can you pray and you not get accepted? You're ill. There's something wrong with you. Yeah. So he's saying that we have to rectify ourselves, right? He's mentioning hadith that somebody is at the Kaaba, his hair is disheveled, clothes are dirty, and he's saying, oh Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. And people are looking at him thinking, wow, look at this guy, he must be in some trouble, disheveled hair, clothes are dirty. He will get what he wants, He's in such a situation. However, he's not going to get anything. because the food he's consumed has come from a forbidden source. The clothes he's wearing has come from unlawful sources. He's even a traveler maybe. But how is his supplication going to get answered when he's consumed haram and he's wearing haram? It's not going to happen. They say we have to understand our consumption, our clothing. We have to put a break on sins. They said until we put a break on sin, maybe this is the reason why our dua is not getting accepted. Or there's a delay in it. So we have to build trust in Allah. A believer, his heart trembles, he will turn to Allah, tawakkal in Allah, and he will establish prayer. When salah is mentioned, usually it comes with the word establish. Establish, not just pray, establish salah. So we all make effort to establish prayer. Establishing prayer means that we learn how to pray properly and also call people towards prayer. This is establishing it. So he's saying, what is the promise that comes with salah? Qur'an is saying that when a person prays salah properly, then this salah will stop a person from sinning and evil. We pray salah today, but we still sin. He said, don't become disheartened, continue to pray. Continue to pray. He's saying, look, a person who starts to learn how to cycle, then he starts cycling, he cycles and falls, gets up, cycles and falls. Yeah, he keeps on trying. He doesn't just say, I can't do it, and puts the bike there. So similarly, he's saying, so what happens on this journey of learning how to ride a bike? He keeps on trying, and he understands I have to learn how to pray. I learn how to ride a bike. Similarly, he's saying, okay, I'll not be that good, but continue to learn. Even if it takes you 20 years to learn salah, carry on learning. So we say, we perform salah, we learn how to perform salah, and we also establish prayer by calling people to pray. Rasulullah is teaching us, a child who is 7, encourage him to pray. When he becomes 10, instruct him to pray. There's a difference. Yeah? This is the difference. So 7 years old, encourage him, mashallah, bismillah, let's pray salah. 10 years old, no, you have to pray. Instruct him now. It's a training. So, my dear brothers, he trained us. He's talking about Umar radiallahu anhu. Subhanallah, that when Umar radiallahu anhu was very close to passing away because he was stabbed, when he would drink milk, then the milk would come out from his body whether he was stabbed. Even in that state, even in that condition, subhanallah, he was told about the time of prayer. And in that condition, he would try to pray salah. And people would, are astonished. Look at his condition. He's about to die and he's worried about praying. He said, I have heard the Prophet say that there is no place in Islam for a person who does not perform his salah. There is no place in Islam for a person who does not perform his salah. Someone who's sick, he's in hospital, we say, don't worry, chill out. You're not well. When you get better, you pray salah. What a world of a difference. Look at the difference. So he's mentioning, when the day starts, that whatever you spend in the way of Allah, you will find its return. He's saying the postman, then he gets paid for what? For delivering the parcel to the place, right? And he's saying that if he stops delivering the post or the packages, is he going to get paid? So similarly, he's saying that Allah gives us wealth to spend, and if you spend, you get not paid like financially, but you get paid for it in a number of ways. It's not just in a financial way or a monetary way. So he's saying the people of Iman, they will spend in the way of Allah, and they will increase in the stages of Akhirah because of those actions. What are the actions of the heart? He had tawakkul, he had trust, he had Iman, he had trust, and he had love and affection for the people. For that, his status is increasing in the sight of Allah, and he will be raised in his rank on the Day of Judgment. The one who performs salah, then he will be raised and he will be forgiven. Rasulullah saying, the person who performs 5 times salah, yeah, so salah to salah, Jum'ah to Jum'ah, then the salah becomes a means of forgiveness of sins between these times. So through salah, your sins have been forgiven. And the one who spends in the way of Allah, then he gets, subhanAllah, he gets sustenance which is respectable. SubhanAllah. Think about the words he's using. Sustenance which is respectable. So he's saying that how can a person expect to sit at home, relax, listening to talks and receive hidayah? It's not going to happen. What is the Qur'an saying? The one who will struggle and strive in the way of Allah, for that person, Allah is saying, I will open the ways, I will open the doors of guidance. What is the condition we mentioned in this verse? It's the struggle, it's the striving. Not relaxing, listening to talk. It's not going to happen. We will struggle, you have to struggle. When we go in the path of Allah, how many things are accumulated? He's saying, look, when we go in the path of Allah, one is the virtue of being in the path of Allah. We go in the path of Allah, we learn knowledge. How many virtues we go in the path of Allah? He goes, let me just give you a few signs. Let me tell you how virtuous it is to go in the path of Allah. When Allah mentions the way of Allah, okay, let me mention one hadith verse is saying, and you can have a little understanding. What work can be better than the work of da'wah? Hadith is saying, in the day of judgment, that there will be 7 types of people who will be allowed to take shade under the arsh of Allah. No one else. Only 7 types of people Allah will allow them to be under His shade. What's been said? The first is the young man who spent his youth in the worship of Allah. They say, look my dear brothers, that youngster who spends his youth in the worship of Allah as he continues to grow, if that youngster comes in the path of Allah and he becomes a means of a whole lot of hundreds of youngsters to come in the path of Allah and straighten their life, one youngster who becomes the means of hundreds of youngsters to become obedient, subhanAllah, what would he get? He becomes the means of hundreds and thousands of youngsters who spend their youth in Allah's obedience. They will be under the arsh of Allah, but what would he get from bringing them on this path? SubhanAllah, think about that virtue. And that man, and another type are those 2 people who get the space under the shade of the throne of Allah, who used to meet and depart only for the sake of Allah. But look, when we come here, when we go in the path of Allah, we give salam to one another, we think, mashallah, pious brothers, they're nice people. Why do we give salam? What, because he's an alcoholic? Because he doesn't fast? Why? Because it goes in the path of Allah. So we meet them, we greet them. That love we have is solely for the sake of Allah. Right? It's for the sake of Allah. We meet, we greet. People come to Markaz, right? I don't know, you know me. We meet, we give salam. Why? For the sake of Allah. So he's saying, another type is that person whose heart is attached to the masjid. His heart is attached to the masjid. He's saying, this is, mashallah, a nice quality of our brothers that go in the path of Allah. That when they're going to travel, like when you go for 3 days, you think, look, when is Dhuhr Salah, we need to get them before that. Look at the intention that he's travelling with that. Look, our travel should be dependent on what time Salah is. So his heart attached to the Salah of the masjid. So that person who goes in the path of Allah, his heart is attached to the masjid, isn't it? It doesn't mean he doesn't necessarily mean he has to be in the masjid all the time, but his heart is attached there. When can I get there? So that man or that person who goes in the path of Allah and he becomes the means of hundreds and thousands of people coming towards the Salah and the masjid and call people towards their hearts becoming attached to the masjid, what does he get? Also that person, that youngster who has the opportunity to fulfill his desire with a beautiful woman, however he refrains because of the fear of Allah. And he's got the opportunity, saying today, this day and age, how much opportunity is there? So much opportunity. Allah protect us. Yeah, so much opportunity there. But for the fear of Allah, we refrain. And this person becomes the means of of so many other youth protecting their iman, they will all get placed under that shade. And what about him who became the means of so many people? What does he get then? Allahu Akbar. And he's saying that when a person spends in the way of Allah, sadaqah, with so much sincerity that his left hand doesn't know what his right hand has spent, meaning with sincerity, then he also gets a space in that shade. So meaning the quality of ikhlas develops. So in the path of Allah we develop that quality of sincerity, and becoming the means of people develop sincerity. What do we get? He's saying that person who fasts all day, and all day he's been fasting, his lips become dry, and that smell from inside the stomach comes out, it starts to come up to his throat, and he's saying, subhanAllah, he's saying that smell comes to the throat, that smell that comes to the throat in the sight of Allah, it smells more fragrant than musk. So he's saying, imagine those people who go in the way of Allah and they suffer hunger. Our food goes forward and backwards. Okay, you might not be fasting yet, but that hunger you suffer, that difficulty you suffer, how beloved must that be in the sight of Allah? He's saying in the Qur'an, the protection of a person's iman, that we need to go in the path of Allah. He's saying in the Qur'an, the king is saying that if you don't believe in me, you're going to be beheaded. So these youngsters are saying what they're saying, what we're going to do, we need to save our iman, right? We need to save our iman. So now what they're consulting, look, let's go to the cave and let's hide. Let's hide. He said, look, they didn't go on the streets trying to spread iman, they only went to protect the iman. Yeah? And their scenario or that event from their life, Allah is mentioned in the Qur'an. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them sleep for 300 years plus. And while they were sleeping, Allah gave them the opportunity to turn from side to side. And Allah also commanded the sun that your rays should not directly fall on them so it doesn't harm them. Anyhow, he's saying that those youngsters who, subhanAllah, who went in the cave to protect their iman, Allah loved that action so much. Allah brought this in the Qur'an. Imagine those youngsters who go in the path of Allah to protect their iman, to increase their iman, and to call others towards iman. What about them? What about them? This is just sort of those who wanted to protect their iman. So I say, my dear brothers, for this reason, for us to increase and to become complete believers, we have to continue to go in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to increase our iman, to protect our iman, and to call people towards this iman. So he's saying, my dear brothers, we are ready for this, right? Yeah, we're ready to go in the path of Allah. So he's saying, my dear brothers, in the Quran Allah is saying, all people of iman, enter iman completely, or enter Islam completely. So for that he's saying that we need to strive and struggle in the path of Allah. So he's saying that a person, he will become completely content when he will enter Islam wholly. Like a person that's driving and the sun, the ray of the sun is there. So he's driving and it's affecting him because it's coming and going, passing the clouds, coming and going. He's uncomfortable. But when he will be completely out of the way, then the contentment comes. So he's saying similarly that the level of iman, our iman will become content when we come to Islam completely, inshallah. So for this reason he's saying, when we all make some intention to strive in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the time of tashkeel. We've done enough talking from here. It's time for you, brother, inshallah, you chosen ones who have been brought here by Allah to make intention, inshallah. So, bismillah. So we're ready to make intention. Stand up.